Okay, so we are going to discuss about like how to find the value of z for the standard model for normal distributions. So when the mean is 0 and when the variance is 1. So in the past recording, we have discussed how to find the probability. In this recording, we are going to discuss how to find the value of z. So it's important for us to take note that the table only allows us to read lesser than or lesser than and equals to. And then in the past recording, we have discussed that the a, or we can call it as a z, should be a positive number. So for example, the first question is we want to find probability of x lesser than a equals to 0. Let's say 823. The first step in solving this kind of question is we have to think if the a is a positive or a negative number. Okay, how we can understand this easily if it's a positive or a negative number? So we have to plot the graph first, so it's easier for us to understand. For a standard model, the mean is at 0. So the A have two versions. It can be a positive value and it can be a negative value. But logically, if you think in a logical thinking, right, total area is 1. So means half of the negative section is 0.5. Another half will be 0.5. The negative portion is 0.5 and the positive portion is 0.5 because the total area have to be 1. The total area have to be 1. So like half is 0.5 and another one is 0.5. Now, if we look at our questions, it is a lesser than A, and then the probability is quite big. The probability is 0.823. So if we still don't understand, probably we can draw. If my A is a negative value, will lesser than a negative part, will this portion reach 0.823? Of course, it will not reach 0.823. Why? Because when we take the entire negative part, the probability maximum only 0.5. So if we expect the probability to be 0.823, it means our A should be at the positive part. So the area will be 0.823. Okay, this one is like more makes sense. So it's not possible for the A to be negative. So it means the A have to be positive. So once we have decided the A is a positive value, then we can continue. So we cannot continue to the next step until we have a decision if the A is positive or negative. Okay, the next step is we have to go to the table and do not get it wrong. We are being asked to calculate the Z. And given that the probability is 0.823, so we have to look at the table and we find the closest reading to 0.823. So I can see at 0.9 and a 2. At here is written 0.8212. So there is no exact value for 0.823. So if there is no exact value, we have to take the closest to 0.823. But have to be lesser, may not be greater. So again, I repeat, we have to take the closest to 0.823 and it have to be lesser than 0.823. So it cannot be greater. So that's why we come to a decision using 0.8212. Then we can continue again. So now we have to think 0.823. There is no exact value for 0.823. So we decide to take 0.8212. So lack of how much in order to give us 0.823. So to get 0.823, we have to take 0.8212 added with 0.0018 to get the closest to 0.8. To get 0.823, we have to add 0.8212 with 0.0018. So now we have to understand or refer to our previous recording. We have to refer to our previous recording. So just now we have understood that the z we take up to 0.92. When 0.92, we get a number 0.8212. To get the third and the fourth decimal place, we have to move to the right part of the column. So if we move to the right part, we can have a 18 at there, and the top number is written as 7. We can have a 18, and the top number is written as 7. So the answer is, the A value is positive 0.927. Because we have decided that the A have to be positive, then the A answer is positive 0.927. Okay, I'll be giving another example again. So let's say the next questions, we are going to find the x lesser than a, and it have to be 0.920. So again, the first step is we cannot solve, but we have to decide first if the a is positive or negative. For those who are still confused, you have to sketch the curve. So if you go with a negative value, and we have to understand the probability should be 0.9. And again, if we cut the portion of the graph into two, the negative portion is 0.5 and the positive portion is 0.5. So it is not possible for the a to be a negative value because the probability is big at here. The probability is 0.920. So from this, we can say that the a have to be a positive number. Because if the a is a positive number, then lesser than positive a, it will be 0.920. I mean, it makes sense for us to have 0.920 if the a is positive, but definitely not negative. Okay, so once if we have understood that the a have to be positive, we can go to the table. So the next step is we should find the closest, or if there is, we should find the exact value 0.920. But there is no 0.920. The closest value that we have is 0.9192. You can have the value if you refer to 1.4, and here is 0. So that is the closest. Then now we have to think further. Okay, I need to solve for 0.920. But right now I have 0.9192. So it means my 0.9192 supposed to be added by how much in order to give me 0.920. So it have to be added by 0.008. Then you use the table again and you move to the right side. From the same row, you move to the right side and try to find a number 8. You have a number 8 and the top part is written as 6. The top part is written as 6. So we have found the answer. The A value is positive 1.406. I will give one last example. If there is no questions, if you have questions, just text me through WhatsApp. If there's no questions, I will just continue to the one more example. So for part C, if you want to find x lesser than a, let's say this one have to be equal to 0.742. Again, we have to think if the a is positive or negative. So that's the first step. That is the first step. A is positive or negative. And because we just started the discussion, I'm giving a positive value for the a, but you have to think. If you cut the portion into two, again, each of the portion, the weighting is 0.5. So if we think the a is a negative number, then common sense, will this small portion reach 0.742? Of course not, because even if we take the entire negative section, it is only 0.5. So from that, we can conclude that the a have to be a positive number. So this area is 0.742. And so once we have decided the a is a positive number, then we have to think 0.742. We have to take the closest value to 0.742 by referring to our table. So we can find it at um, 0.7389. Again, it have to be lesser. So if it is close but the value is greater, we may not take that. So the closest value that we can take is 0.7389. And the z is at 0.6. And there is a 4 at here. So now it means 0.742 is equals to, so we need to solve 0.742. So 0.742 is equals to 0.7389 added by something. So we have to figure out the something first. So the number is 0.0031. So 0.742 is 0.7389 added with 0.0031. So unfortunately, we don't have 31. The greatest number is at 29. And if we use that, the one that is written at the top is a 9. So means our answer for the value of a in this case is 0.649. So the a value is positive 0.649. So from this recording, we are still discussing the simple one because the a is always positive. So on the next meeting, we'll be discussing if the a is negative or if the sign is greater.